Hey guys, it's Tobila here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm pleased to have you again today. So today's topic we are going to talk about resentment. There's a saying that says that resentment is like drinking poison with the hope that the other person will die. But we all know the truth that when you drink poison, the other person does not die. Who dies? Yourself. So that is what resentment is to us. It's toxic. It's such a toxic feeling that really kills you from the inside. And yet you are feeling that feeling for the other person, and most of the time the other person is not even aware that this is what you are feeling about them. So yeah, it is a very toxic feeling. So what is resentment? In definition, what is resentment? What does resentment mean to you? It might mean different things to different people, but it is in general the kind of similar feelings that one felt for another person. So resentment is a layered emotions that are described as a mixture of disappointment, of anger, of fear, of discontentment, of dissatisfaction, of irritability, animosity, and unfulfilled expectations. So you find that with this person that it can be any kind of relationship. It can be a work related relationship. It can be a relationship with your spouse. It can be a relationship with your family. It can be relationship with in-laws. It can be relationship with it can be with any other person. you know so that is what resentment is. It's a really toxic feeling that you might be feeling for the other person, that is bringing those evil. It's actually very evil emotions inside you. It brings those evil emotions inside you. And unfortunately, most of the time when we have resentment towards another person, most of the time we don't even tell the person doesn't even know exactly what is happening inside you. They are not aware that you are thinking all this evil towards them. You feel unsatisfied. You feel your expectations are not met. Most of the time, we don't relate those feelings to the person. You might relate a bit, but maybe they might be not be at full speed with the exactly how much you are feeling. They are not aware of how worse it is more than exactly what you are telling them. Because most of the time, though, we kind of like hide those feelings. I don't know why. We kind of hide those feelings and just feel them inside. But sometimes it depends on the characters, because most of the times people who have got like kind of bubble character, people who are very confrontational, they don't really suffer a resentment as much as people who are not confrontational does suffer a resentment. Because people that are confrontational, they can easily come to you and tell you exactly how they felt, how they are unhappy about the situation, how they are unhappy that you are not changing. Most of the time, maybe those people will call them like nagging or too much confrontational, but that kind of help them because most of the time they don't build anger inside you. But if you're the person that is more like shy or more like quiet, like me, for example, I don't like confrontation. My character is like that. I don't like confronting people, but it is a toxic habit, because if you can't confront people, if you can't let people how you feel, it's not good for you, because it destroys you from the inside. Myself, I'm learning at the moment. I'm better. I'm learning to express myself, because I've learned that expressing yourself doesn't always necessarily mean that you have to confront the person, as in talking to them face to face. You can talk to a person in another different way. For example, you can write to the person, maybe a text. You can write to the person, maybe an email. You can write to the person, maybe a letter. You can write it in a form of a letter and just put it somewhere where they can see it and they can read before they come and confront you. At least, because and sometimes this kind of behavior come as a result of you feeling that you are not heard when you're speaking, because you feel like, okay, maybe when I speak to this person, an argument will start off and I won't be able to express myself. So most of the time, that's where the problem is that you are not listened to. So you are not able to, especially if this person is a very outspoken person, is a they are very good with their words. So most of the time you won't be able to say what is inside you, what you are feeling, because they will cover you. I mean, shadow what you are saying because they have got better words than you. So yeah, so you won't be able to express yourself. But if you have written that thing down, you will be able to express yourself. They'll be able to hear what you're saying, even if don't agree with it, but they'll know exactly where you are coming from. Even if it's something that will make them angry, but at least they will know exactly what is inside your heart. I mean, what you are feeling. In the past, I have been in situations where I had build I have massive build up emotions inside me. So you'll be feeling this unfulfilled expectation. For example, that is another one that is really a problem, the unfulfilled expectations, because most of the time these unexpected expectations are something that you build in your own mind without telling the person. So the person is not aware that, for example, if you are in a work relationship, they are not aware that this is what you expect. Maybe work relationship is better because most of the time they are guidelines, there are rules, there's a job description that is telling you what is expected of you. But in our personal relationships, that's when, maybe, for example, there is a problem. For example, relationship with in-laws, relationship with your own parents, relationship with your spouse. That's when there is a problem, because most of the time you have this expectation that okay, you are the man of the house, you are supposed to pay the rent, all the rent, you are supposed to take care of me in this way, you are supposed to do this for the children. Or if you are the man, you have got this expectation from your wife, that your wife should be doing this and your wife should be doing that. And most of the time you tell yourself that she's a woman, she knows what to do, so you don't spell it out that this is what I expect you to do. So she's not aware of some of the things. For example, you are expecting your husband to be helping out in the house, and you're not spelling it out. You're just saying, how can I go to work and he's here the whole day and he hasn't done this and that, and you get angry. But you haven't said it, you haven't pointed out to him. But if you sit down with that person and explain to him that, when I go to work, I come back tired. Can you please help out? Do this and that when I'm away. At least there should be food on the table when I come back, or at least should have chopped this and this for me, and maybe have just boiled the rice. Then I can do the rest of the job, or I just find the whole meal is, or everything is ready, and I just eat and wash up, or something like that. But most of the time we don't tell the person that this is what I expect of you, but we just have the expectation. For example, you can go out with a guy and expect them to pay the bill, and the person maybe is coming from a different kind of mindset. For example, here in the UK, when you go out with a person, you don't expect them to pay all the bill. But you might be like, for example, coming from Africa, and this is what has been happening in Africa, so you expect them to pay the bill, and then this day they don't pay the bill, and you're like, really? You go home angry, and you don't even tell them exactly why. They ask you, you say nothing. You just say nothing. And you kind of conclude about that relationship that this is not a guy for me. A guy that doesn't pay for me when I'm going out for a date. No, he's not a right guy for me. But this person might be coming from a different culture. But if you do say that to them, that I was born in Africa, and in Africa, when someone takes you out, this is what is expected of the guy, then you let them know, because you might lose a good person just because of expectation that are in your mind that the person is not aware of. So it's important that you speak to the person, and you lay down your rules, you lay down your expectation, what you expect of them, so that they are aware. Then if they do a different from what you've talked about, okay, then that is a different case. So another resentment can be built out of expectation from the person, like, for example, from your spouse, from your business partner, from your work colleague, that when something happened, they should maybe something happened, and they were there when the thing happened, or they know certain things about that thing, and they did not stand up for you. You were accused of something that they are aware of, and they are aware that you didn't do the thing, but they didn't stand up for you. So you get angry that they didn't stand up for you, and you don't relate to them that, okay, I expected you to stand up for me against when your parents were saying this and that to me, when the manager was saying this and that to me, when my other work colleague was saying this and that to me, you were aware that I didn't do this thing. Why didn't you stand up for me? And you get angry, and most of the time you don't actually spell it out to the person that I felt angry when your parents were doing this and you didn't stand up for me, or when the boss was saying when the work boss was saying this and you didn't stand up for me. You would just let these emotions simmer inside you, build up inside you. You don't spill them out and tell the other person that this is the situation. So they are not aware. In most cases, they are not aware of the situation, and in your mind, you make up conclusions about the person. You make up deal breakers about the person, and the person is not even aware of the deal breakers. So yeah, this is a problem. This is a problem that kind of comes with resentment that we should be able to deal with for us to have healthy relationships with friends, with family, with people around us, like a community at large, because we deal with a lot of people in the community. It can be a school teacher, it can be it can be any other person that yeah, that is kind of making you have that resentment towards them. So most of the time you have these feelings towards them. This build up fury, this build up anger, bad emotions towards the person. And yes, the person is not aware. Yeah, so we should be able to rectify this kind of feelings, because sometimes it can be so toxic that you actually think deadly thoughts towards the person. They enter the door, you are like, you are still alive, but you are not even expressing that to them, that this is how I'm feeling about you. And how did I even come to this space? How did I even come to this space to feel this towards you? It can be deadly. It can really be deadly feelings. So and the bad thing is that obviously it kills us from the inside. It doesn't add any years to you. It doesn't add any good health to you. Instead it destroys your health. So it's very, very important to deal with it wisely. Deal with it wisely. Deal with it in an adult kind of, in a matured kind of ability. Use maturity, use wisdom to deal with it, because it can destroy relationship. It can destroy good relationships that have been built over the years, that could have lasted forever, that could have lasted forever, or for the longest time ever. But because you didn't deal with it wisely, or you didn't deal with it with wisdom, it ended up destroying good relationship. So we should really tread carefully around resentment. We should really tread carefully, because it can destroy good relationships for us. It can make you live in a tormented kind of relationship with your spouse, with in-laws, with your work, with colleagues, with your work boss. If you don't deal it with if you don't deal with if you do not deal with it wisely. Like I did express earlier that resentment can happen even in a marriage relationship. In a relationship where you have a spouse, this kind of resentment, this kind of evil emotion can happen, and that's why sometimes you feel that in relationship, one is an enemy to the other, and yet you live under the same roof, and yet you are not even aware of the things that are making the other person or your spouse so angry towards, feel anger towards you, feel hate. Yeah, it can come to that point where it's actually hate. You feel hate towards your husband, you feel hate towards your wife, you feel hate towards even your child. It can be even a son and a father relationship, or son and mother relationship, or daughter and mother relationship, daughter and father relationship. This kind of feelings, this kind of emotion can exist under the same roof, which is really, really really a toxic kind of emotions. Can you imagine living with your loved ones, and yet you feel such evil emotions towards them that are being built up over time with the hope? And if you are the laid back character like me, you always have the hope that maybe the person will change, maybe the person will see. How are they going to see if you don't talk to them? How are they going to see if you don't talk to them? So that's why it's important to talk to them, to the person. Let them be aware that this is how you are feeling, instead of just let things being built up and hope that soon things will change. Maybe the way that the other person handles money, you don't like it. Speak to them, let them know that this is how I felt. Then once they don't change, then that is another it's a different issue. If they don't, you've talked to them but they do not change, that's when you can make decisions if you do want to stay in this relationship or you don't want to stay in this relationship, or to put measures that who is in charge of money and who is not in charge of money. It's something that I think every problem that comes, it can be managed, even if it's a problem that cannot be dealt with, but it can be managed. So always find a way of managing it in a healthy way, healthy way that there will still be peace in the home. Because once resentment is in charge and there is anger, there is too much bad feelings towards the other, there is no peace in that house. There is no peace in that relationship. There is no peace in that family. So you don't want to have a family where there is no peace. You don't want to be part of a family where there is no peace. There is no peace. So always look inside you and see, how can I change this situation? How can I contribute towards changing this situation? For example, if the other person you think is the one that is a problem, always look inside you and see that and see if there's anything that you can do to rectify that problem. Even if that the problem, the way to rectify that problem is you actually leaving the relationship, that is still management. That is still, it's extreme management, but it is still management. For example, in a situation where the relationship leads to a divorce, it is a management, because it helps the children that are living under a toxic roof, because because of the animosity between the husband and wife. Sometimes you find that they do evil things to each other, and the children are here. They are under the same roof with you. They are seeing all this evil. Maybe the dad is beating the wife, or the wife is beating the husband, and the children are consuming these things. And in the future, you expect these same children to have a good relationship with their spouse. So that's why I'm saying, if it does come to the point where divorce has to be in the cards, divorce is still, I'm not encouraging divorce, but I know that divorce can be a kind of managing the problem, because you don't want to escalate to the point where one is killing the other. Because, like I am saying, this kind of resentment does have the point where you feel like you want to kill the other person. You might not say to them, hey, I want to kill you, but deep inside you, this is what you are feeling. This is what you are feeling. You might not be expressing it to them. You might not even be planning to be, you are not even be like kind of planning yourself to be the one like doing the killing, or the one like doing evil thing towards the other person. It could be that you are wishing them death, you are wishing them evil, you are wishing them to lose their job, you are wishing them evil things. And imagine that this is the person that you say you love. This is, even if it's not like a love relationship. For example, this is your colleague, and you know that that's where this job is so important to them, but you are wishing them that they'll be fired in the job. This is it's evil. It's evil at its best. It's evil at its best, because the person is not aware that you are wishing them evil, you are cursing them in their heart because of this and that. Because if they were probably, they will apologize, they will rectify the problem. But because you haven't talked to them, so they don't know that this is how you are feeling. Especially because resentment sometimes arise from minor issues. Actually, most of the time, it is minor issues that are being built up. So it's minor issues that end up escalating into a massive, 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 massive thing. But yet, if you had dealt with them earlier, they wouldn't have escalated. So yeah, it can be started with just small things that you could have talked about at that time when you were feeling about it, and rectified it so that it doesn't escalate into a big issue. Because sometimes you find that there is one person that is abusing the other. So if that abuse is kind of dealt with earlier, the person wouldn't escalate and end up doing much and much and much and much worse abuse, because the more they do small abuse, another time they do another small abuse, that abuse in a year's time, it is accumulated into something big. And if they see that, okay, most of the time you forgive, most of the time you ignore, most of the time you are laid back, you don't even like say much about it, or you do say something but you are not that much serious, you don't take it that serious, that to maybe it's serious to you but to them is not that serious, they will come and do more, they will come and do more evil, and their evil will increase and increase and increase. As their evil acts increase towards you, your resentment increase, your anger, your evil thoughts about them, your cursing in the heart towards them, everything just increase, and one day obviously it will explode, one day it will explode. So yeah, that's why it's important for us to tackle resentment earlier, so that to avoid those explosion in a long time. Because if you deal with it small, little by little, it does help. It does help, because it stops it from accumulating into even worse, worse kind of things happening. The other coin of resentment can be that we can actually use resentment to blame the other person, to blame them. For example, if our life is stagnant, is not moving forward, we are blaming the other person. If at work, for example, your boss doesn't like you, maybe you are thinking it's because of what your colleague had said about you, so you are not improving yourself, you are not living to the expectation of your boss. You keep on blaming the other person, saying that they said this and that about you, so that's why your boss is not liking you. And yet it's you that is lacking in doing the job that you are supposed to do. It's you that is lacking in improving yourself in the job that you are doing, you are supposed to do. You are the one that is not doing what is expected of you. You are not improving, you're improving yourself, you're not improving yourself, because sometimes in some jobs you have to keep on improving yourself, you have to keep on learning new skills. But if you're not learning those new skills, I mean, you should have learned more skills, you should have improved yourself, you should have been a better staff, but you are not, so you are blaming other people. So yeah, sometimes resentment, we hide under the skin of resentment, because we are blaming the other person. You are blaming your husband for this and that, you're blaming your wife for this and that, instead of improving yourself. And sometimes it even needs you to improve your character. So sometimes when you improve your character, the other person's character also improve, because you can be with someone that is, for example, has got bad character. You are the other person yourself, you have better character. Your better character can rub onto the other person, your good character can rub onto the other person. So yeah, we should look at ourselves, in the mirror, and just find different things that we can do to improve the situation, to manage the situation in a way that is peaceful, in a way that will not make it to escalate to even worse than what it is. We can always find good in ourselves. I always believe in that we can always find good in ourselves, if we search deeply, we search deeply with a good heart, with a heart that is willing to have peace. Yes, it is possible, especially if you think of your life as a gift from God. And who did God give this life to? Yourself. So God gave you this body. This body is yours. This everything that is in this body. Your life is yours. God gave it to you. So it's your responsibility to make sure that you take care of this body. If a man is beating this body, it's your responsibility to run away from that man that is beating this body. Is if a man is making you go mental, it's your responsibility to protect your mental health. It can be anything. It can be your work that is challenging your mental health. It can be the relationship with your children. It can be the relationship with your spouse. It can be the relationship with your boss. It can be the relationship with all work related situations. Still, in all this, it is your responsibility to take care of yourself. It is your responsibility to take care of your mental health, so that you can be good, so that you can bring the best to your family, to your spouse, to your work, to your to the people around you at large. It's your responsibility to take care of yourself. But if you're going to take the whole responsibility to your husband to be the one like that is bringing happiness in your life, you are not doing anything yourself to bring happiness to yourself, but you expect this man to take the whole responsibility of a whole human being, which is you, to bring happiness to you. Then obviously you end up having resentment, because that expectation of happiness might not happen, because you're expecting the other person to be the one that is bringing happiness. You are doing nothing yourself to bring happiness to your life. So obvious that will end up building resentment towards the person, because your expectations are not fulfilled. Happiness hasn't arrived. Instead, things are getting worse and worse and worse in your marriage, in your workplace, in your relationship with your children. Take responsibility. Take responsibility. Your happiness is your responsibility. It is your responsibility to bring happiness to yourself. So a happy person has got no resentment. A happy person is a person with reduced resentment. A happy person is a person that is reduced with anger towards people, because sometimes a life that is not going well, it makes you be angry with everyone. It makes you to be angry with everyone, every situation, everything around you. When you see things along the way, it kind of infuses anger in you. But if you deal with your life and be the one that is in charge of your life, that be the one that is bringing happiness into your life in different ways, whichever ways that you are managing your own life well. Most of the time, you come out there positive. Even if things are not that 100% good, you come out positive because you've got the right mentality that these things I'll be able to deal with them. This thing I'll be able to manage them, even if I haven't find the right solution yet, but I'm able to manage, I'm able to do this and that, and things are going well. Instead of sitting there and blaming others for not being happy, blaming others for making you angry, blaming others for not meeting your expectation, for lots of things. So in that way, obviously you are heading to the wrong place. You are heading to the wrong goal. You are heading to the wrong outcome, because you will hit a wall that will break you down. A wall that will break you down, and you don't want to you don't want to be broken down. How do you avoid that? You avoid that by dealing with the things that are making you angry, by expressing yourself, by managing them, by making the people around you that makes you feel anger aware that this is how you are feeling, this is how they make you feel. They make you feel, and you stand up for yourself, because if they make you feel this way, stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself. Let them know that this cannot be done to me. This is wrong for you to do this. You don't have to do it in an angry way. You just have to express yourself. I don't want to be treated like this, because this is how this made me feel. Please do not do this to me. In that way, the person is aware. Even if they say they keep on like doing it again and again, obviously they are aware that this is how it makes you feel. So that when you explode, they won't be surprised that, okay, where is this coming from? They are aware that you have talked to them. And most of the time, people, if you let them know how they feel, they do change. They might not change immediately. They might not change to the level of change that you're expecting them to, but they will change. They will, some kind of change will come out as a result of you expressing to them how you feel. And also let them express themselves, because obviously here you'll be having a conversation. So let them express how don't impose. So let them express, have a conversation and have agreement of how you want things to be done. Don't impose how you expect them to behave, how you expect them to change, but have a conversation and put things in line that this is the agree on certain things. Okay, we've agreed on this, but don't like impose on them, but make an agreement with them that, okay, I would like this to change, and how agree how you want the things to change. Don't just be telling them how you feel and like impose on them how they should behave. Because just imagine the person is also a full human being. They've got their own feeling, they've got their own personality, they've got their own way of dealing with things. So if you are imposing on them, you are more likely not to see the change that you expect, because this is a whole grown up person. Even if it's a child, this is a whole human being. Even a child is a whole human being that which have got their own whole character, which is different from your character. So don't expect them to behave like how you want them to behave. In your own way, that you expect change. Let them bring change in their own way. Yes, so yes, it's important to deal with resentment in the right way that will bring peace into the home, that will bring peace into your workplace, that will bring peace around you. Well, I just hope that this talk will help you look at yourself if you have resentment and find a way of rectifying it, a way that will bring peace to your family and to your people, to the people around you. So thank you very much for listening to this video, and hopefully you listen to my next video. Thank you very much. I appreciate the time you take to watch my videos, and please do not forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.